to our Climate Action Beyond Borders event organized by Shanghai Climate Week and also United Nations Institute for Training and Research with support from GYLDC and also Arab Youth Council for Climate Change. At COP29, I'm glad to see some familiar faces from last event. So thank you a lot for the continued support for us, our event, and also to remind all of us, I'm Ramoka Shi. I'm the Deputy Secretary General to the Shanghai Climate Week Executive Committee. And also for today's event, so we want to see that as we cross the midpoint of the 2030 agenda, it's clear that we are falling short of our ambitious targets. So, however, technology collaboration stand out as the beacons of hope in tackling climate change. The event centers around technology and the collaboration, these two themes. So we can see from regarding technology, we will share cutting-edge insights from latest report, which is Climate Tech in Focus report. And also for this year, we focus on innovations for a greener supply chain, jointly produced by Shanghai Climate Week, PECC, and also UNITAR. So beyond the theme, we are honored to connect climate weeks across the globe. We'll come an esteemed panel of speakers to explore how cross-national, cross-industry, and cross the functional collaboration that would promote sustainable practices and implement the actionable initiative to ensure the vibrant and also sustainable planet for our next generation. So firstly, let's welcome our Philip Albert, Deputy Director of Division for Multilateral Diplomacy at UNITAR, to deliver our opening speech. Thank you. Thanks.
Thank you. Good morning, distinguished guests, colleagues, and partners. Welcome to today's event. I'm going to do a very short introductory speech because, as you all know, the schedule is quite packed, so we're going to go straight to it. But it's an honor for me to welcome you to today's event, which we call Climate Action Beyond Borders. And it's a collaborative initiative under the Shanghai Climate Week, organized in partnership with UNITAR. And UNITAR is the United Nations Institute for Training and Research. We are the training arm of the UN, if you want. But of course, what we do goes beyond the United Nations. And we are headquartered in Geneva, Switzerland. And this gathering really brings together leaders and innovators from around the globe, dedicated to drive forward our collective climate agenda. And today's theme, Climate Tech in Focus, Innovation for a Greener Supply Chain, underscores a critical intersection of climate action, technological innovation, and sustainable economic transformation. And really, climate technology is not only essential for mitigating the climate crisis that we all know, but it is also a pathway to pioneering greener and more resilient supply chains. So through our partnerships and shared efforts, we can reshape how supply chain impacts our environment and society. And I'm proud to announce that in partnership and collaboration with the Shanghai Climate Week, UNITAR is co-launching a report that we entitled Climate Tech in Focus, Innovations for a Greener Supply Chain. And this report, featuring a preface from Mr. Nikhil Seth, who is UNITAR Executive Director, emphasizes our commitment to empowering change through informed action, and it explores how climate technology can really unlock opportunities across industries, sustainable growth and green employment worldwide. So I invite you to have a look at the report, to read it, and hopefully we can discuss it at a further stage. So as we move forward, let us remember that our collective efforts have the potential to reshape our global economy, protect our planet, and secure a livable future for the generations to come. So let's make that ambition into a reality. I wish you an excellent event, and let's be in touch. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Mr. Philip, for your so exciting speech. And also next, let's extend a warm welcome to Peng Feng, the representative of Executive Committee of Shanghai Climate Week, who will also deliver an opening speech. Please come to the stage.
Thank you. Thank you. Distinguished Mr. Albert, distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen, good morning. On behalf of Executive Committee of Shanghai Climate Week, I would like to express my warmly welcome to all the guests to join the event to discuss the climate action beyond borders. In line with President Xi Jinping's commitment on behalf of Chinese government to the world, China is proactively advancing its goals to achieve carbon peaking and carbon neutrality, paving the way for profound environmental, economic, and social transformations. In pursuit of Chinese-style modernization that fosters harmony between humanity and nature, Shanghai Climate Week serves as a collaborative platform for national and international climate initiatives. It shows China's active role in fulfilling its global responsibilities, from a participant in environmental governance to a leader in ecological innovation. It further represents an international stage where China contributes insights into the development of ecological civilization and promotes a new theoretical framework for sustainable practice. With this in mind, we put forth the following proposals. First, it's a little bit closer. Firmly support the 17 United Nations Sustainable Development Goals. We are committed to advocating for and practicing the principles of mutual benefits, actively promoting public engagement, and inspiring citizens to participate in global climate action. Together, we can address pressing global issues, foster harmony between humanity and nature, and build a shared future for all. Second, advance the Paris Agreement goals. By actively facilitating the establishment of global carbon emission trading system, we aim to strengthen the alignment of regional and national carbon markets. This collaboration will drive the innovation of more sustainable, equitable, and efficient pathway for a global green and low-carbon transition. Third, enhance comprehensive international cooperation. We will foster robust partnership between nations and regions, creating platforms for collaboration between developed and developing countries. Through these connections, we aim to promote technological cooperation, knowledge sharing, and synergies across academia, research, and industry. Fourth, promote internationally aligned standards in innovation. We advocate for the development of standards across areas such as green development, green economy, green industry, green consumption, and sustainable lifestyles to support global climate governance. Fifth, prioritize the development of global youth talent. Youth are essential to achieving the global sustainable development agenda. We are committed to nurturing a new generation of young leaders with global vision, responsibility, and a sense of purpose for the future. Six, collaborate on building the climate community. We envision a global climate community network and standards framework that integrates the sustainable development goals across economics, society, science, and technology, culture and art, and quality of life. This effort will create new practice for ecological civilization that blend biodiversity with cultural diversity, promoting the realization of ecological, social, and economic value. Shanghai Climate Week sincerely invites guests, all of you, and friends from around the world to join us for Climate Community Sprint 2025 on the Earth Day in the next April. Guided by the principles of China Action, Asia Value, Asia Voice, and World Standard, Shanghai Climate Week embraced the responsibility of our times with confidence and perseverance for a promising future. We look forward to meeting with you in person to Shanghai in the next spring. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Pan. for your aspiring the advocacy. And also, we are sincerely welcome everyone to join our climate community network and also to explore our maybe mutual collaboration in the future, recognizing the importance of international collaboration in addressing climate change. And the Shanghai Climate Week Youth Council is committed to partnering with the Arab Youth Council for climate change in various areas to promote Sino-Arab youth collaboration for the 2030 agenda. So now it's time for our partnership sign ceremony. So please join me in welcoming William Wang, Chief Representative for Asia Pacific of Shanghai Climate Week and Director of General of Shanghai Climate Week Youth Council, along with Ahmad El Gadaka, President of the Arab Youth Council for Climate Change, to the stage, please. So finally, let's hold our sign MOU on the hand and look towards our, so we can capture this memorable moment. Thank you for you both. Thanks a lot. So William, please remain on our stage. As we move to the highlight of our event, the release of our report, Climate Tech in Focus, Innovations for a Greener Supply Chain, the inaugural edition of the Climate Tech in Focus series. Please welcome William.
Thanks a lot all for joining us today. And first of all, thanks UNITA for being a partner for the event, as well as a partner for the report we jointly developed together. So just give 1 second. So excuse me. And just give 1 second on the technology. No. It's about the background. So why we are doing this, right? There's so many reports on ESG talking about green, talking about climate actions, but we see there's a significant need on the technology angle. So we have a lot of things talking about governance, about social responsibilities, but on technology, we believe this is one of the first report published in the world. And we see climate technology as a key enabler to boost the efficiency, reduce cost, minimize disruption to operation in decarbonization process. And then that's why we get started with this topic called Climate Tech in Focus. So as an annual report, the first year's topic is around the supply chain. So the reason we think about supply chain is we see in the recent years, given the geopolitical situation as well as the technological advancement, so the supply chain, the resilience and the greenification of supply chain gets more and more important. And supply chain itself impact over 450 million people engage in the process and account for 60% of the global emission of the final energy consumption. So as one of our key sponsors from UNITA, Nikhil Seth mentioned, the supply chain is a critical nexus where climate change, market focus, technology, and economic interests converge. So through this report, we engage over 70 top experts across all continents with 12 best practice case studies, and to push this forward to share with a global audience. So what's possible with climate technology? So next page. So when we move to the key findings. So for the key, I would like to share basically today about the 3 key findings. So the first one is talking about what's a challenge among the supply chain greenification. So if you're thinking about supply chain from an end-to-end perspective, so we will say there are 7 critical processes or critical nodes here along the way. And then through our research, we recognized each of these has the first 4 accounts for most of the emission. And then among those, for the first part, talking about the raw material mining, so a lot of the challenges lie ahead, including the irresponsible exploration, insufficient third-party trades, lack of access to cleaner technologies, and then the primary process and manufacture actually contribute the most towards the emission, where from the hard to get credible data, and then to the limited availability of green suppliers, fund and risk issues across. And then also importantly is on the logistics. It's talking about how to optimize the routes for goods from the manufacturer to the end user, and how to better use the packaging for the materials, and also the infrastructure supporting the logistics. And then from there, it's about marketing and then about the end use. So that's a lot talking about everyone is claiming they are doing the green thing. They are doing the climate-friendly thing. But how much of those claims are verified or third-party verified are trustable? So that's a challenge. And last thing is about the disposal, or we call the oil reuse. So that's also the part most of us tend to forget. We feel to the end use as the last stage, but actually there's also the disposal. So how to get the disposal more environment friendly? That's also something we look into. We see the challenges among all these. So that's the first thing about challenge. So let's move on to the second key finding. So about where the climate technology currently lies. So next page, please. So when we talk about the second key finding, so we're looking at the readiness of the climate technology. So we looked into over 170 technologies around the green tech, and then realized over 30 of those should be prioritized. Some of those are just too early, too new, or some of those don't have the enough market potential. So these 30, so we map those across 2 key metrics. So one is talking about the technical readiness. Basically, the technical readiness showcases how well this technology is developed and to what extent the technology is mature to be deployed. And on the other hand, we look at the adoption readiness. So when we talk about adoption readiness, that's more towards the market. Is the market ready to adopt such technology? And what is the market appetite or the risk appetite to having these technologies being leveraged? So from this mapping, we can see each of these some are more commercialized, some of us still in the prototype phase. In the report, which each of you have today, there's more deep dives on each of those and how we put those into these quadrants. So hope that gives, and actually it's the first time to give a landmark to see a landscape of how climate technology should be evaluated and where these technologies are. So next page. The third key findings we see is really, when we talk about technology, it's not just technology. It's really the interplay between all the factors. So including, we will see 3 key factors. So from policy, infrastructure, and then the finance, investment, and education and talent. So we see these becomes a 3-leg stool that supports the development of climate technology. And among these, so the building the trustable certification network, establishing a sustainable urban infrastructure, and exchanging financial and green assets are what we believe are the key for the policy and the infrastructure development in supporting it. And the green finance and also the how we better leverage the venture capital with the policies, that comes to support the development of green technology and climate tech from the finance and investment perspective. And also importantly, it's about education, about talent. So that comes to how we engage with them, how we train them, and what are needed from education perspectives. So those are the 3 things we need to push jointly for in order to advance the deployment of climate technology in the future. So going forward, if we move to the next slides, and we would suggest through this report, we would suggest a couple practical actions required for different stakeholders. So from the government side, it's really about how should the goal setting should be done, especially on the international stage, such as here today at the COP. And also the policies internally to be more sustainable, consistent, as well as the regulation and the knowledge. And then from the educational institution, and a lot of our friends also come from nonprofits. So what we should do together is really to have the mechanism support those innovations from the lab to the factories, as well as bridge the gap of knowledge and speak the language to the current generation and the next generation. And for large enterprise, it's more move beyond compliance to excellence in sustainability, as well as talking about the infrastructure for the traceable data supply chain, giving those large companies normally play an important role in each of the supply chain. And also talking about the AI, about the transition strategy. For financial institutions, so from the big ones like multilateral development banks to the venture capitalists, so it's really important to have them engaged as well. Thinking about the risk appetite, offering best practice, not just the funding, but more importantly is know-how, and also the additional resource to help this climate technology to excel in the market. And last but not least, for the SMEs, the startups, entrepreneurs, and those individuals, it's really about your own skill set, mindset development, as well as thinking about a competitive edge by leveraging the sustainability as a core competency. So overall, so that's some of our key findings and our recommendations to the stakeholders. The report will be available shortly at the UNITA website as well as the PECC website, and welcome for the electronic version download and sharing, while you have the paperback session, which also printed by the Soil Inc., as well as using the recyclable paper. Thanks a lot, and wish you guys enjoy the report. Looking forward to chat more about this landmark report. Thank you.
Thank you, William, very much. So next we move to our first panel discussion, Innovations for Greener Supply Chain. Through the insights of our report contributors and partners, we will explore how cutting-edge climate technology can empower transformation of greener supply chains. So let me hand over to our moderator, Ms. Yu Jiadan, Head of Government and Public Affairs, Division for the Multilateral Diplomacy, UNITAR. Please.
Thank you. Should we invite?
For sure. You can
Me? Good morning, everyone. I'm Yu Jiadan, and the head of the Public and Government Affairs for the Divisions for Multilateral Diplomacy Division at UNITAR. We're an organization based in Geneva. It's a pleasure to moderate today's panel. Now let's invite our panelists. The first will be the Xin Zhang, the Senior Climate Specialist, Asian Infrastructure Development Bank. Please have a seat. And the second will be the Eric Ma, the co-founder and the Chief Technology Officer from the Way Carbon. Please have a seat. The last one will be the Zhang Li, the president of the Institute of Climate Change and Sustainable Development from the Tsinghua University. So it's a pleasure to moderate today's session, and our discussion will highlight how the climate tech innovations are reshaping the global supply chain, and to be more environmental responsible and also more efficient. So together we will explore the insights from the recent published reports and also from our distinguished panelists. And now, I would like to start by introducing our distinguished panelists. Could each of you briefly introduce yourself and also your organizations? Thank you.
So let me start. First of all, thanks for the organizers' invitation. It is a very pleasure for us, Asian Infrastructure Investment Bank, to join this panel. About myself, my name is Sing, and then I'm the senior climate specialist working for the bank. And then my basically key responsibility is to develop and also to support the bank to deliver its climate ambition, including its climate targets and also the operational level. So Asian Infrastructure Bank, AIIB, is the youngest MDB to the joint MDB group. So we are a multilateral development bank with 110 member clients. Our focus is in the infrastructure. So let me start here. Thanks.
Okay. I'm very glad to join this event. Thank you for inviting me. And I'm Li Zheng. I'm a professor from Tsinghua University, Peking, China. So originally, I'm a professor of engineering. So my topic is energy, and especially power plant. So I do research and technology development related with power generation. And at the same time, I'm also chairing the Institute of Climate Change and Sustainable Development in Tsinghua University, which is a relatively new organization with a history of 7 years. And the inaugural president of my institute was our former special envoy on climate, the Minister Xie Zhenhua. And now I'm a success in his position, but we work very closely together on climate issues. So in this capacity, my organization mainly do 3 categories stuff. The first one is dialogue and exchange. So we keep connections with think tanks over the world, especially in Europe and in United States, with a high level with climate leaders globally. The second is a work to help to to advise strategies and policies for energy and climate. And our capabilities mainly with modeling. We do pathway studies and based on our quantitative study, we propose our advices to the society and to the government. And the third category is about education. So in your report, you mentioned education, focusing on the young talents. So we are university professors, teachers. So we did a very interesting thing is that we initiated and established the Global Alliance of Universities on Climate. So with 15 universities across 6 continents. So each time of COP, we lead young youth ambassadors to be in the COP site to learn, to watch, and then to advocate the ideas. So maybe you have seen many of them. So we have several activities already in this COP venue in China Pavilion. And dedicatedly, we also have a dedicated GOC Pavilion in the green zone. So that should be very interesting. So our member universities take all kinds of events there, and the organization are welcome to hold meetings there. So this is roughly what I want to tell you. Thank you.
Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. I'm Eric Ma. I am among one of the co-authors of the report Climate Tech in Focus, Innovation for a Greener Supply Chain. So before my introduction, I would like to express my gratitude to all the contributors, some of them who has been our panelists or has arrived at this venue to support and contribute to the key knowledges of the report. So for my institution, I am a co-founder and the chief technology officer for WeCarbon, which is a organization harnessing AI technology to resolve the most critical supply chain challenges regarding ESG and sustainability. We serve industrial zones, we serve labs and certifiers, we serve global logistics and shipping, and also other industries, including manufacturing. We help them to go global business, we help them reach compliance, and also we help them build AI-driven solutions to make their automation and make their workstream more smooth. That's all about me. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much for this insightful introduction. And let's start with the role of each of your institutions play in combating the climate change. How are you innovating to meet the growth in need for the climate technology?
Okay, I can start again, and maybe next round we can go the other way. Yeah, for AIIB, I should have mentioned that we have in our corporate strategy, our first thematic priority is about green infrastructure. And then under that, we have a specific climate target, which is to achieve at least 50% climate finance by 2025. We are already actually delivering to this level. And in addition, but quite directly related to this target is technology related or technology-enabled infrastructure. So it has to do with the bank's mandate, which is to finance infrastructure for tomorrow. So what does it mean is that we believe the future infrastructure has to be low carbon resilient and also enabled by technology for efficiency and for productivity. In such a context, so the bank has focused the different, let's say, the areas along the climate technologies from the innovation, the commercialization, and also the adoption of the technology. I think William just mentioned in the report, basically it is about the kind of the chain of technology development. The bank has all different focuses. Like for example, at the early stage, the bank has focused on let's say, whether we could provide some risk capital. So we have set up a venture capital, which is about 100 million, and with another 30 million kind of in a standby. And then to really look at the new technologies which are currently perhaps still in the lab, and then which needs to be kind of tested out. And so this is a very, let's say, example the bank has been doing. And then for being MDB and multilateral development bank, our other, let's say, advantage could also that we have relatively patient capital, like with relatively higher risk appetite, and we have our own portfolio, meaning that if we realize some technologies that needs to be tested out, need to build its own kind of use case, we could apply those technologies by using our own project, our own portfolio. I think that's all, like basically offered the applications to bridge the, let's say, the use and the user and the technology provider. So let me stop here. Thanks.
Okay, so as I mentioned, I come from Tsinghua University, Beijing. So I think as every other university, so the mission of the university to basically three aspects. First one is fostering young talents, young students to give them knowledge. And then the second is to create or to innovate knowledge through research. So that are related with what you talk about, technology development, something like that. And then the third mission is to serve the society, both locally and internationally. So we always keep this mission in our mind. And as you may know, Tsinghua University is quite strong in. We are a comprehensive university, but traditionally we are very strong in science and engineering. So in China, we have the policy to deal with, to tackle with climate change actively. So and we have set up the target. We call it, namely, dual carbon target. That means to peak carbon before 2030 and to reach carbon neutrality before 2060. So this dual carbon is a Nico name, is an alien name for climate. So in this sense, all our disciplines are working in this direction, how to decarbonize our society, the different sectors. So that's basically what we are doing. And especially, we have the ambition to help China to realize its dual carbon goal. So we established a new institute called Institute of Climate Change. Institute of Carbon Neutrality. So we integrate all our energy and industry-related disciplines to work together. So this institute covers the industry sector, transport sector, building sector, and energy sector. And so some exciting technologies are being tackled and developing. So for example, CCS, SAF. So in your report, you mentioned a lot hydrogen, fuel cell, I think electric vehicles, etc. So in a word, we intend to do great contribution to China's decarbonization, and also want to help, ideally to help the world. So we are doing a lot, and at the same time, as I mentioned, I come from the Institute of Climate Change. So besides the technology development, to have the right strategy to steer the direction correctly, that's also very important. So my institute works in this direction, both on strategy and the climate policies. So that's all. Thank you.
Thank you very much for the two panelists sharing. So as a climate tech service provider and also a climate innovator, probably our company is among one of the most frontline to get through or to touch with the exact basic or implementable needs of the society and the corporates. So basically, we deliver innovative solutions. We co-create solutions together with our clients in helping them to automate their labs, automate the certification processes, and also to help them reach carbon neutrality with a more digitalized or automated manner. So basically, in this way, we are creating one-of-the-kind solutions to satisfy the needs and to tailor the needs of the client, including helping them to provide key digitalization support in industrial zones, in global logistics and shipping and so on. So basically, we deliver these solutions, but beyond that, we also deliver world-leading insights, including the consulting projects to help them reach a front-end understanding about like what exact technology are best practices and can deliver the expected roles and expected impact. So basically, we not only serve as a digital solution provider, but also we provide these front-end solutions to deliver the tangible outcome that the client is looking for. So basically, beyond that, we also, as an institution, or as my personally, we also among the earliest effort in the funding of Shanghai Climate Week. So basically, actually Shanghai Climate Week's funding is actually before the funding of WeCarbon. That is also the venue where all our founders and advisors have been meet and decide to fund this company. So for Shanghai Climate Week, on the social side, we support this event from day one and then help Shanghai Climate Week reach exporter reach out, especially for the international reach out. So basically, by delivering the social side and commercial side, we help deliver the impact to the society. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. And looking forward, what climate technology do you see as the most transformative in achieving our net zero goals?
Maybe let's start this.
Okay. Yeah, thank you so much. So as an author of this report, we, as William just said, in the section 2 of the report, we have demonstrated a matrix by recognizing the technical readiness and adoption readiness, so that we identify a list of technology that will be promising by 2030 and reach a very good decarbonization impact. But I will highlight two things actually. Actually, we have a lot of technology, but two things. One is about the fuel technology, which is to replace the fuels from the traditional fossil-based fuels to less or non-fossil fuels. This includes electro fuels, which use the electricity to generate hydrogen and use hydrogen to generate methanols and other primary chemicals. And also use biofuels using the crop residues and so on by traditional or by innovative processes to transform that to fuels. This has been shaping the global fuel landscape from some of which you might have been have been heard of, including SAF, stands for Sustainable Aviation Fuels in the aviation industry, and also to use the biomethanols and bio-based alternative fuels in shipping and so on as one of the largest emitters in the world, by replacing energies. This has been showing potential, especially the viability from the cost and the commercial side, to become one of the most promising technology in the next few years. The other one is through AI. I think during the last session, a lot of panelists and experts has also covered that. One point in AI is to do automation, especially to help the automation of management, and then using the feedback-based loop or the feedback-based transition management to help management HVAC or air conditioning, including logistics and so on. We all think the potential of AI has still been underestimated, and especially as the maturity of the LLM agent and other modern AI technology, we are seeing greater potential of that. Okay, that's briefly my point. Thank you very much.
Okay, so I think this question carefully. So I think there's no single silver bullet. So we need a portfolio of technologies because we have a complicated system. We need a portfolio of technologies. And take China, for example. So as I mentioned, we have dual carbon target. So before 2030, we need to use the current existing technologies, especially renewable energy, wind and solar, to peak our carbon emissions. So by doing technology iteration, large-scale deployment and technology iteration to increase efficiency and to lower down the cost to peak our carbon. And then after carbon peaking, we need to decarbonize our society quickly. So we estimate that each year we need to reduce 400 to 500 million tons carbon. So in this sense, besides the renewable energy, we need to decarbonize. The main difficulty to decarbonize the so-called hard to abate in sectors. So in this sense, we need technology innovation. So both in industrial sector like hydrogen, iron, steel making, in heavy transport sector like heavy trucks, and also navigation and aviation. Then in building sector, we need extremely energy efficient heating system. So all these things are not ready yet. So we need to do research and development. And then on the other side, we do expect some breakthrough of disrupting the technologies. So for example, nuclear fusion. So I know that a lot of companies are working on nuclear fusion, and the most optimistic estimation is that it may come to commercial around 2040. So that's very exciting. So if this technology make breakthrough, then we have a vast source of energy, and then other things like hydrogen energy system, and like some gene technologies that can help to grow carbon sink quickly and largely. That's all ideal disrupting technologies that could happen. Yeah.
Okay, thanks. And then, yeah, actually, I was really kind of looking forward to hearing from my panelists to speak first, and particularly Dr. Li. I know that he's and Qinghua is a super, in depth into this topic. Maybe following their sharings, I mean, from my end, I would like to maybe, let's say, offer from a slightly different perspective to supplement, which is that is not sounds as fancy or sexy as as disruptive, but I think it is still important, which is the nature-based solutions. I mean, by concept, it is basically, let's say, a basket of technologies which are trying to replace, the solutions based on brick and mortar and then iron and steel with the natural solutions. And why it is important? Because I think it is not only providing the carbon or climate-related solutions, but also those social solutions or the social benefits that is associated with that. So with this said, it is not just, as I said, it is kind of the planetary health in addition or on top of this climate. And then it is also as a reason for AIB, we consider nature is actually another type of infrastructure, or it's the kind of the basic element of the infrastructure that the bank has been actively exploring. Thank you.
Thank you all for sharing your insightful knowledge with us. So due to the time limitation, I think we are going to skip the rest of the question. And please do stay to approach our panelists for the further discussion. And now I'm going to hand over the floor to my colleague who will host the next session. And thank you for your participation. And also, I hope you enjoy the rest of the COP. Thank you.
Thank you, Jordan. So, as we know, achieving the climate tech's full potential requires a concerted global effort, and actually collaborations among governments, investors, innovators, educational institutions, and enterprises can actualize a green economic cycle. This collective endeavor will ensure that the transition to greener supply chain is feasible and beneficial. So let's welcome our distinguished panelists for the next session.
Because we work on to stabilize the Congo Basin. Basin for the forest basin.
All right, okay. Hi guys, we're already on the live streaming, so maybe we can talk maybe at the back of the stage.
Thank you.
Okay. Sorry, Lee, can Mr. Lee, then we're on the live streaming, so maybe we can talk later. Thank you.
Imperial, I know them very well.
Yes, I thought you might.
Thanks for the time. Okay, let's welcome Nick Mabey, Chief Executive Officer for E3G, and also William Wang, please. Chief Representative for the Asia Pacific of Shanghai Climate Week, and also the Luke Herbert, Executive Director of International Communications Climate Group. And Luke will be joining us online. Hi, Luke. Could you please greet the audience with us so we can check whether you can working properly?
Absolutely. Can you hear me okay there?
Yeah, please use the headphones to hear Luke's voice. So hi, everybody. Welcome to our panel discussion. Our theme today is connecting climate weeks across the globe. We developed this theme as we are privileged to bring together the organizers of so influential the climate action initiative around the globe, including Shanghai Climate Week, and also the London Climate Action Week, and the Climate Week in New York City, and of course, where we are, the annual COP meeting. It will be the remarkable, one-of-a-kind chance to discuss how intergovernmental and also regional climate initiatives can work together to drive the global and also the local agenda on climate action and mitigation. So first, could everyone introduce themselves, including your background, representing organizations, and so on? So please, Nick, you can start from now.
Great. Hi, I'm Nick Mabey. I'm the co-CEO and one of the founders of E3G, which is an international climate change think tank based across Europe and globally. And I'm also the founding chair of London Climate Action Week. And my background is in government affairs, diplomacy, but also engineering and academia.
Thanks, Nick, and thanks all for joining us today. So my name is William Wang, and I'm one of the co-founders of Shanghai Climate Week. We started officially this year, so 2024 in April is our inaugural Shanghai Climate Week. We would like to bring together the force from Asia, from the developing country together to jointly push forward the climate action agenda. And I'm the Director General for the Youth Council, as well as the Chief Representative for the Asia Pacific, basically operating its international outreach. Thank you.
Thanks, everyone. And of course, Luke, please introduce yourself.
Thank you. I'm Luke Herbert. I'm Executive Director for International Communications and External Affairs at Climate Group. And I also oversee Climate Week NYC for a number of years now. My background is in government affairs and environment economics, working in the manufacturing, tech and energy sectors, mostly private sector, before joining Climate Group. Thank you.
Okay, thanks everyone. As also, I'm one of the founding partners for the Shanghai Climate Week, so I could tell how it's difficult and not easy journey to founding a climate week. I know it's really a breakthrough and it's challenging. It's much driven by our belief, altruism, and also
लेकिन
enthusiasm.
ये क्या कहते हैं इसका DFCT का शॉर्ट कोड क्या होगा उसमें जो असद
And for each initiative you founded or for your supported, you must have different stories. So what sparked your first thoughts to support your initiative? And can tell one or two stories surrounding the challenges, impacts, and or maybe some interesting stories about your projects, please.
अच्छा चलो मैं फिलहाल
Okay, thank you. We founded London Climate Action Week in 2019, working with the Mayor of London, and it was really stimulated by two main thoughts. Firstly, we were looking at kind of going into an era of implementation and the need to really get people across sectors working much harder together on climate solutions. London has the largest number of people working on international climate change globally, so 250,000 people, a conservative estimate in London. But despite having world-leading sectors in around 10 major areas, from finance to engineering to clean tech, the community wasn't working together as a cluster. So our first thing was, how can we make these groups work together more effectively to solve climate change problems and bring them together? So that was the first aim of London Climate Action Week. The second was also realizing that climate policy was in a bit of a bubble. It talked to itself at the COP and other places. And it wasn't reaching out beyond. So we had an aim to reach out to a much broader set of institutions, ranging from professional associations, other sectors like fashion, but also the arts and culture that have huge leverage over shaping public conversations. And so those two things, building a kind of London climate cluster, which worked together more professionally and more effectively on solving problems, and reaching out beyond our bubble to kind of broader cultural and engagement and different sectors were the main aims. Some of the challenges, we talked to around 100 groups in London about setting up the group to start with and to get the mayor interested. What was very clear from the stakeholders was that they were happy with the global event that showcased London's global position, but they also wanted it very rooted in the city and in community. So we built a whole set of grassroots components around the week to complement the kind of business and diplomatic and political components. But I think that's been very powerful, and it's been a very good way of taking it forward. So now we have festivals at the kind of sub-London level, 10 or 8 in different places, everything from gardening to food to community energy, which really complement the big showcase events. It wasn't that easy to align all those people around a single direction and move forward, but I think now we've got it. It's really great. And just in terms of things we're really proud of at London Climate Action Week, 3 to pick up. One is we were very instrumental in helping the UK government deliver the outcome at the Glasgow COP26, and we did a lot of diplomacy and held a lot of international events to run there. It was one of our main aims. We've been very successful in mobilizing new groups, so we've built a whole set of climate activation in the legal sector, which is one of London's main sectors. This year we launched a insurance breakthrough with the London insurance sector. That's a quarter of global insurance, which is going to build a kind of climate reformed insurance sector. And we've worked with the 150 professional bodies, from physicists to architects to accountants in London, that have 11 million members globally, to set up a climate charter for professional organizations and institutes, which is about their members retraining to support the climate crisis. And that's an ongoing process. That's a really powerful lever, we think, for change in the sector. And on the cultural side, we've mobilised a huge range of cultural institutions in London, from the Royal Opera House to the Museum of London to 300 museums and art galleries nationally who came together to work it. So, it's now slightly out of control. We thought we'd get 40 events in the first year. We got 180. We now had 350 last year. So looking forward to seeing where it goes, but it's certainly been a very energizing journey so far.
Thanks for Nick's all the sharing, right? For the Shanghai Climate Week, I think we as well as the youngest climate week among all these, and we start actually thinking about the 4 seasons when we talk about climate, right? So it's a spring, summer, autumn, and winter. And before we start, we already have London Climate Action Week in June every year in summer, and Climate Week NYC in autumn, and then this COP meeting every year in December in winter. So we are thinking about there should be something for developing country, for Asia's voice, and in spring. So that's the initial concept, to say we bring 4 seasons together, we bring all these continents together, we bring this platform together. So that's what drives this the idea to do something in Shanghai. I think thinking about given we are relatively young, still growing, I wouldn't say we have the number like Nick just mentioned, right? A couple hundred. So first year we do 36 events, and next year we're looking for probably somewhere around 100. So we're growing. But one thing in particular we're really proud of is really we start with a focus of this the youth council, the youth engagement, thinking about the next generation engagement as a core part of the Shanghai Climate Week. That's why we have the youth council, basically same time as the executive committee formed. And now we have over 20 members from 11 countries. So that's the global, and earlier today we have the signing with the Arab Youth Center. So we're trying to push forward not just in Asia but beyond, to connect youth, leveraging the sustainability and climate action as a platform. So that's something I think we're unique. And then going forward, we're trying to make the Climate Week more fun, rather than meetings after meetings, discussion after discussion. So we push forward things like photo contests, we push forward things like the digital art competition, cycling across a bond. So really trying to leverage Shanghai, leverage China as a backdrop, and then using all these elements to showcase the climate action, rather than simply putting more meetings with more people. Thank you. And over to you, Luke.
Thanks, William. So Climate Week NYC was formed in recognition of the fact that climate action is not just driven by national governments. They're incredibly important, and COP is hugely important, of course. But predecessors of mine were inspired to create and develop events going alongside the UN General Assembly, to bring together the leaders from states and regions, cities, multinational businesses, to showcase their climate action, and to have discussions about how to do more as well. And we've kept that very, very simple premise for what Climate Week NYC should be, and to provide a reliable and quality moment for all those actors to be able to use it to highlight their work and connect with others as well. And we did that through the pandemic, for example, as well, when we weren't sure if COP would happen and it had to be postponed as well. So we've always provided that platform for others. But Climate Group ourselves as well, we work with these and build these networks of states and regions and governments, and we bring them together because they have the scale, the means to bring about change and to speed up action as well. And we actually over time have not only built the scale of Climate Week NYC, it has grown hugely. Just our own events, used to run 3, and we run now 60, and the week as a whole is getting to about 1,000, which is incredible. And that's a mark of the commitment of the global climate community as well, and also a mark of how climate action is so much more serious now in terms of importance for business, for investment, for government policy as well. And we've really seen a real drive to deepen the conversations at Climate Week NYC. We've driven that ourselves through our events, but we see as well, for a few years ago, there were questions about whether it was mainly greenwashing from businesses, but now those criticisms have dropped off as we've seen just hugely important key figures from those organizations coming together, utilizing it as a key moment for the discussions they need to have. And finally, on impact, we utilize the platform to bring together our networks like RE100 or the Under 2 Coalition of states and regions, and we launch new initiatives there. We launched a new 24/7 carbon-free coalition this year. It provides that really important moment actually for businesses to bring forward their new announcements and be held accountable as well on the action they've taken and what they've promised previously. And it's interesting that actually that happens directly in terms of that impact, but also indirectly. So, a couple of years ago, the president of the World Bank had a pretty bad interview, not with Climate Group, but with New York Times on a platform on climate. And within the year, there was a new president of the World Bank as well. So it's a moment that really, really matters. And it helps us to drive action through the rest of the year in those networks, because it makes it real and actually really supports the leaders within businesses and within governments who want to do more as well. It empowers them to push the agenda further.
Okay, thank you, Luke, for your so interesting stories, and thank you for your remarkable stories regarding your journey, and which make today's Climate Weeks engaging, inspiring, and also impacting all future generations. We're talking about attract the different stakeholders of society to get involved into our Climate Weeks, and also we are driving no matter the cross-functional and also the cross-national collaboration to really empower the progress of green transitions. And also we know climate change is a global challenge that doesn't respect the national borders. So it's an issue that requires a solution that must be coordinated at an international level, and also the international cooperation to help developing countries to move towards a low carbon economy. So as leaders of your initiative, how do you think an effective international collaboration among the initiatives that can really create a greater impact on the climate change mitigation? So if you have specific plans or some interesting stories or collaborations to share with us, it will be helpful. And of course, you can see, okay, I'm seeking some specific collaborations maybe on our stage or with other Climate Weeks, and feel free to share with us.
Thanks. So when we set up London Climate Action Week, we always saw it as part of a movement to build kind of bottom-up support for climate in cities around the world. And we thought, because we had so many people working in London, it's kind of easiest for us to go first in a way to pioneer this sort of week. So we've worked deliberately with others to share ideas. For example, we every year we do a meeting we have a lesson on climate for all school children in London, which we go around, and then they go and talk to their local member of parliament in London. And we also then did that in Nigeria with Nigerian children and Nigerian MPs, and we hope to spread that model. We worked very closely in the Sharm el-Sheikh COP with African countries and groups. The diaspora in London has a very strong African community, to bring in 40 African events into London Climate Action Week to give them more voice in areas. And we've also been working with other climate action weeks to incubate them, not Shanghai, which we're talking to about an MOU, but we helped set up Auckland Climate Action Week, Dublin Climate Action Week, Sydney Climate Action Week. This year, working with the Azerbaijani government, we actually directly supported Baku Climate Action Week. And we have a few other collaborations ongoing. And one of the nice sharings we had, London has built around COP26, they built a universities network on climate action for all our major universities. Baku established one during Baku Climate Action Week this year, but to convert their universities, which are designed to support a hydrocarbon economy, into support a green economy. And it's that type of very practical collaboration and lesson learning which I think is going to make these kind of climate action weeks an incredibly powerful driver of change across the world, because everybody needs to use their own assets to drive their own contribution, but then we can all learn from each other's innovations to do it all faster and better. And I think that's what we're seeing already, but it feels like we're just about to take off as a community and really take that to the next level.
Thanks, Nick, for the sharing. I think from the Shanghai side, so I would say there's two kind of a strategy we are thinking about that's important. So one is really about the platform. So we understand deeply that Climate Week is not about what we talk about or what we trying to drive, but it's really what the stakeholders related in Asia, in China, and broader developing country who cares about That's what we should listen, we should amplify, and we should push for the collaboration. For example, this year we're doing this landmark report on climate tech. So we talk through this report. So it's not just the view from Shanghai Climate Week itself, but really bringing together the experts across different continents, from the minister from the South Africa to the minister from UAE, from the minister to Australia, all across the globe, across different representation, to hear their voice and us leveraging the report, leveraging Climate Week as a platform, to put these thoughts together and to share broadly with the global audience on such insights. So I think that's the first thing. It's about the platform. Then the second thing is we believe is important is on this non-profit, non-government, and non-partisan kind of standing. So there's a lot of meetings driving by the government. A lot of them in China, there are major meetings, all these. But the important thing is what I always talk to my counterpart in partnership is Shanghai Climate Week is not Shanghai's Climate Week. It's not about only the publicity for a single city, but really leveraging Shanghai as a hub to engage all these stakeholders to share their success stories and empowering the next generations among the developing countries, among China, among Asia. So I would say that's the two strategies we really deeply believe and deeply implemented across all these initiatives. Though we are still young, still have a long way to go, and we are also looking forward to learn more from New York, from London, what your success, the recipe of success, and looking forward to further collaboration with both Climate Weeks.
So Luke, please share with us.
Yeah, it's interesting. I mean, similarly for Climate Week NYC, we recognized it needed to work for the world, for the US, and for New York State and New York City as well. It needed to work up all three of those levels, similarly to what William said. I think the interesting thing that we think about climate action now, the scale of action and how it cuts across every system, every sector now of the global economy, and how clean investment far exceeds fossil fuel investment as well. It's too big and it's too multifaceted to just deal with it at one point in the year at COP, as important as that is. So I think having this continuous drumbeat of climate weeks happening around the world helps to keep climate up there and visible to business leaders, to governmental leaders, to citizens as well throughout the whole year, which is really, really incredibly important, because we can't just hope for the best at a COP and then leave it another year before we come back to the issue. So I think it raises the profile and attention on climate globally overall. But I think also the interesting thing for us in terms of collaborators, how do we collaborate in terms of doing things differently? Because it is a big challenge to cover all that territory and all we need to do. And so I think it's really interesting, Nick, what you said in terms of how London is focused on institutions, on the climate community that sits there, as well as supporting the UK as a itself is trying to be G7 climate leader as well, and that has an incredibly important role to play. And I think for us at Climate Week NYC, because you have the UN General Assembly there and other major moments, it does bring governmental leaders and multinational company leaders as well together. And I think there's going to be new opportunities to bring together kind of mini lateral groupings of national governments, state governments, large businesses to continue to push and drive climate action in new ways, which face the challenges that we have now, actually. And whilst COP is the only place where we're going to get true intergovernmental agreements, actually a lot of the work that has to be done in systems is around actions at the national level, subnational and business level, and it's things that need to be done within a year or two as well to achieve the acceleration of climate action that we need. And that complements hugely, the kind of commitments you have through the nationally determined commitments at COPs for deadlines of 2030 and beyond as well. So I think there's a coordination, but also there's so much to do. We have to think about what we can do differently in this space, rather than have the same discussions with the same people in each of the cities. We would be maximizing our contribution if we did that.
Thanks, Luke. Just like echo to our theme of our whole event, climate action beyond borders. We are not really restrict our actions, our impact into the name of Climate Week. Just like Shanghai or London or New York, we are trying to use our ways, different ways to impact the whole world differently and also to impact climate action globally. So I will extend my sincere thanks to hearing the inspiring insights for all panelists. And today's discussion highlights insights on the technology and innovation and how different parts of the world connect together to drive greater impact and address climate challenges. So as we wrap up this session, so let's take these ideas forward to the change makers and build a sustainable futures together. So I look forward to the infinity future possibility of our collaborations with different climate action initiatives in each season, as William mentioned before. So looking forward the Shanghai Climate Week in spring, and also the London in summer, and also New York in autumn, and of course the COP in the winter for next year. So when the next spring comes, I also want to extend my warm welcome to everyone to join the Shanghai Climate Week 2025. Finally, we're proud to announce that we have offset the carbon footprint of the whole event through carbon credit from Vera. And that's all for today, and hope you all enjoyed the journey today. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks, Luke.
Thank you very much.